All right, guys, 13.3 areas of circles today. I am just skipping through the first page of the lesson, so you can go ahead, turn right to page 554, and we're just going to dive right in with the formula for area of a circle. This should be a reminder to you. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, so the product of pi and the radius squared, not pi r squared. Do not do this. Okay, that will give you a very different answer. So square the radius, multiply that by pi. Okay, diving right into an example. A circle with an area, or find the area of a circle whose radius is 3 kilometers. Okay, so plug it into our formula. We have pi, which we are just going to go ahead and use 3.14 for pi. All right, 3.14 for pi every time. Okay, and take your radius, plug that in. So 3.14 times 3 squared. So that is 3.14 times 9. And that is equal to 28.3, yada, yada, yada. But we are rounding to the nearest tenth, okay? So use 3.14 for pi for all of the problems, okay? And round to the nearest tenth, all right? So 28.3 kilometers squared, because this is area, all right? Example number 2, find the area of a circle whose diameter is 5 meters, whose diameter is 5 meters. So what do we have to do? We have to find the radius, okay? Radius is equal to diameter divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, okay? So area is going to be equal to 3.14 times 2.5 squared, okay? So that is 3.14 times 6.25. And that gives me approximately 19.6 meters squared, because we are rounding to the nearest tenth. All right, skill check number 1. I'm just going to do number 2 and number 5. Okay, so number 2, you have a circle with a diameter of 8 meters. Okay, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, 3.14 times 4 squared, not 8 squared, because we only need the radius, and the radius would be 4. Okay, 3.14 times 16. Okay, so 3.14 times 16 is approximately 50.2 meters squared. Okay, and then we have number 5, a circle with a radius of 0.8 or 8/10 of a meter. 3.14, whoops, times 8/10 squared. Okay, and I didn't jot that one down. Let me plug it into my, Mrs. Wilkening has not had enough coffee this morning. 3.14 times 64 hundredths. Okay, multiply that guy out. 2.0096. So we would round that to just approximately 2 meters squared for number 5. Practice on the other ones. Number 1, you should end up with 12 6/10 centimeters squared. Number 3, you should end up with 314 centimeters squared. Number 4, you should end up with 153.9 millimeters squared. And number 6, you should end up with 38 5/10 centimeters squared. Okay, moving right along in this lesson. Example number 3, find the area of the colored region. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is find the area of the larger circle and the area of the smaller circle, and we will subtract the area of the smaller circle from the area of the larger circle, because we only want to know this area here. Okay, so area of the larger circle is going to be 3.14 times 6 squared minus 3.14 times 4 squared. So that's 3.14 times 36 minus 3.14 times 16, okay? Now, let me actually walk you through the way that the book is showing it in this example. What they're doing is they're just leaving 3.14 as pi. So they're going 36 pi minus 16 pi, all right? Same thing, right? We can treat this as a variable, so they're like terms. So 36 minus 16 gives us 20 pi. And then from here, we can just go 20 times 3.14. It just prevents you from getting decimal here, and subtracting that way. You can do it either way. It's totally fine. But 20 times 3.14 gives us 62.8 meters squared, circle, and we're done. Okay? Example number 4, find the area of the figure. Okay, so here I didn't do a great job drawing this figure, obviously. I never do, okay? But we have two combined areas here. We have this guy right here, which is a rectangle, okay? And then we have this guy over here, which is a half of a circle, okay? It's a half of a circle. Now, what is the radius of this purple half of a circle I have here? Well, this perpendicular that I just dropped here, okay, it's the same as this. That's the height of this rectangle, okay? So that is 4.4 meters. So half of that will give me my radius. So my radius is 2.2, okay? So again, how am I going to find the area of this? Well, I'm going to do the area of the rectangle, which is going to be base times height, plus the area of half of this circle. So plus 1/2 pi r squared to give me the area of half of a circle, all right? So base times height for my rectangle, 4.4 times 6.5 plus 1/2 times 3.14 times my radius, which we determined was 2.2 squared, okay? That gives me 28 6/10 plus 1/2. Why did I write 1/3? 1/2 times 3.14 times 4.84, okay? That gives me 28.6 plus 7.5988, which gives me 36.1988, approximately 36.2, and meters are squared. And that's the answer to that guy. Skill check number 1. How are we going to find the area of this region? Okay, how are we going to find the area of this region? And I just realized I made a mistake. That should be 8, not 6. Okay, so we have a square, and then inside we have a circle. Now, my drawing, again, not awesome. In your book, you can see that your circle completely touches the edges of this square, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of the square, okay? So s squared, and we are going to subtract the area of the circle because all we want are these colored parts. So side squared minus the area of the circle is just going to be pi r squared. Now, the diameter of the circle is the same as the length of the square, okay, as the side length of the square, as in your book, because technically this side of the circle should touch this, and it doesn't because I don't draw. So the radius of this circle is 4 because the diameter is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Our radius is 4. So now we have everything we need to figure this out. Side squared, 8 squared minus 3.14 times 4 squared. So 64 minus 3.14 times 16. And let me plug that in, 3.14 times 16. So we have 64 minus 50 and 24 hundredths, okay? And that gives us 13 and 76 hundredths, and we are rounding to the tenths, 13 and 8/10 feet squared, And there is the answer to that one, okay? Number 2, let's figure out. All right, so number 2, we have 2 figures happening here. I think it's going to be really tempting for you to think that there's 3, that there's a triangle and some sort of like trapezoid-y kind of thing and a circle. There's a trapezoid and a half circle, okay? Trapezoid and half circle. Here is our trapezoid, and then here is our half circle, okay? So we're going to do, the area is going to be the area of these 2 figures combined. So area of a trapezoid, 1/2 b1 plus b2 times the height, plus we have a half circle, 1/2 pi r squared. Plug in everything we have. 1/2 times 22 plus 42 times the height, 20, plus 1/2. Why do I keep writing 1/3? I'm already thinking about writing 3.14 before I'm done writing. That's what's going on. 3.14 times, and I'm running out of space, the radius. Now, here we have a diameter of our circle, okay? So we need half of that divided by 2. That's 11 18/100 for the radius, okay? So 11 18/100 squared. Plug all of that nonsense into your calculator. And that gives you 196.238 yada yada on that side. And on the other side, we just have 22 plus 42 is 64. And then we're multiplying that by 1/2 by 20. So 1/2 times 20 is 10. Okay, so 64 times 10 is 640. So 640 plus 196.238 is 836.238. And we are going to round to the nearest whole number because that is what the instructions said specific to this problem. So we get 836 meters squared for that one, okay, because it said round to the nearest whole number. Again, for your problems, 3.14 for pi, round to the nearest tenth for all of them unless otherwise specified.